Senikelele ngetindlu tekufihla eMaswati lalishumi lashona engotini yemotolo endzaweni yasesiphambanweni esifundzeni saseshiselweni kulama holiday eliphasika. Yemukela letindlu indvuna yelitiko letinkhundla nekutfutfukiswa kwato David Ncamphalala itsi laMaswati lasilimalele kule ngoti atawufihlwa ngesizotha.
Emalunga emindeni langephansi kwemphakathi wasekuthuleni alabo labatfole ingoti ngemaholide eliphasika sebatawukhona kufihla letihlobo ngesizotha ngemva kokuthi inkampani United Holdings inikele ngemabhokisi lalishumi. Umphathi walenkampani Nelson de Souza uthi-ke lamabhokisi yabite imali lenganga 50,000 emalangeni.
Sitsite asite lapha nathi sitonikela nga 10 wema coffins latawugcina la bantfu lababe esimeni.
Indvuna yelitiko letinkhundla lephindze ibe lilunga lephalamende lenkhundla yaseSigwe David Ncamphalala ithi-ke ematiko ahulumende lafaka ekhatsi lihhovisi leliphinda ndvunankhulu litiko letemsebenti lemkhulu netfutsa kanye-ke ne-MVA atawuchubeka nekusekela kulesimo.
Sithe masikhuluma nabo bavele bakhombisa nje inhlitiyo yebunkulunkulu wafica beva buhlungu longathi bungetulu kwaloku lebesilethile thine lesive lesilapha nempilo thine bakhona lesiyatiko sitawugcineka kahle ngesizotha nangokuhlonipheka kulendlela labasibambise ngayo bekunene umuntu bekungakhona ukukhulumeka nanyalo kodwa nje siyamangala ukuthi lenhlitiyo lenhle kangaka bekunene bayithatha kuphi kungako-ke bekunene besingathi ngaphandle letinjengaleti betingasekelwa ngweMaswati tisekelwe ngowonke muntu.
Ncamphalala ubese ucela abafundisi ukuthi basekele le mindeni ngemithandazo. Tindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nginambongwa Dube eMbabane.
Indvuna yelitiko letemidlalo temasiko nensha Harris Bulunga itsi emathulusi ekusebenta ebantfu labasha labanemakhono ihlose kusita insha kutsi ibe nemabhizinisi lakhonsako latawufaka sandla emnotfweni welive. Indvuna beyikhuluma enkhundleni yaseludzeludze lapho betfula letintfo nemishina yekusebenta TVET toolkits kubantfu labasha besifundza sakamanzini ngephansi kwelihlelo insika yelikusasa.
Sifundza sakamanzini sibe sifundza sesitsatfu ekutfoleni tintfo tekusebenta tebantfu labasha labanemakhono. Indvuna yelitiko lelibuke tindzaba tebantfu labasha Harris Bulunga itsi-ke lolusito lutawusita kutsi bantfu labasha batimele baphindze bakhone kwakha ematfuba emsebenti.
The alternative, therefore, is to venture into self-employment or entrepreneurship. And again, this is not an easy journey without the required capital and tools. While today we are giving you these toolkits to start your own businesses, we also house the Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund, where you can now go and tap in to expand your business and ensure that you eventually also yourself become an employer.
Lonxusele live le-Taiwan kuleli Jeremy Liang uthi-ke bantfu labasha labahlomiseke kahle ngemakhono bangakhona kumelana netimo letahlukene.
The donation today will have a positive impact in the lives of these young people. I appeal to all other ministries and organizations and development partners to keep supporting this course and commend them for supporting this course. From now forward, we need to continue to help each other to make the future bright for our young people.
Futhi Dlamini lokhulumele bantfu labasha labazuzile uthi-ke batawufaka emandla ekuthenini batitfutfukise.
Sibonga kakhulu etininini nichubeke nisisupport nathi siyethembisa ukuthi sibantfu labasha sitawuchubeka sifake umfutho.
Ngekusho kwemphathi waloluhlelo lwensika yensha loluhlelo esigabeni sekucala litawusekela bantfu labasha labangu-90 ngaletintfo tekusebenta kanti-ke injongo lenkhulu ukuthi bantfu labasha bakhweshiswe etintfweni letide inzuzo. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nginambongwa Dube eludzeludze.
Hulumende sawubonga eMaswati ngekuphumela ebaleni kwala kusebenziswa bantfu lebebathi live litawuma litsinzi ngalesitsatfu. Lokhu kuvele ngembiko lokhishwe ngilokhulumela hulumende Alpheus Nxumalo ngalesitsatfu. Uhulumende uthi eMaswati akachubeke akwale ngalokucacako ke kusebenziswa abantu labafuna kuphathamisa kuphila kwabo. Uphindze wathi eMaswati anelive linye vo futhi kukuwe eMaswati ukuthi alivikele. Uhulumende ubese ubonga imibutho yomithathu lokunguloyo wedekuvikela wembube kanye nemaphoyisa asejele ngekuqinisekisa kuthula eveni. Kanti ke uhulumende uphindze wabonga nebanikati betincola letetfala sive ngekugcina sethembiswa sekuthi timotolo tabo tawube tikhona futhi tisebenta. Bekusimemetelo lesichamuka kuhulumende sichubeke netindzaba sobuyiselwe estoksini Nelisa Hlatshwako kulandzela ukuthi inkantolo ihocise ibhayili yakhe. Lokhu kubangelwe ukuthi umbuso ufake isicelo sekuthi Hlatshwako agcinwe estoksini njengoba ke ubufakazi bonke sebetfuliwe ecaleni labhekene nalo lapho asolakala ukuthi wabulala umshushisi ngeminyaka wa-2018. Umbuso uthi Hlatshwako sekangabaleka lapha eveni njengoba sekusobala ukuthi licala labhekene nalo limadima kangakanani.
Nelisa Hlatshwako lwaboshelwa tinsolo tekubulala Stanley Dlamini lobeka ngumshushisi bekavele enkantolo lenkulu ngalesithathu. Ngaleli langa leli bekugocotwa bufakazi kuleli cala labhekene nalo. Kuthena kuphela lokhu umbuso wafaka sicelo ukuthi inkantolo isebenzise isicephu 145 for Criminal Procedure and Evidence Act lothi umsolwa lotokele ngephandle angayiswa estoksini kuze kuphele kutekwa licala lakhe uma sekavumile noma aliphikile licala labhekene nalo futhi sekaniketiwe nebufakazi bembuso. Umbuso utshele inkantolo ukuthi umsolwa sobuvile bonke bufakazi futhi sekangetfuka abaleke lapha eveni. Umbuso wengetene ukuthi kukhona labanye labende kona lokho bakhala nabetfula bufakazi base bayabaleka nabaphuma eboxini nanamhla lokhu solabadiwa ukuthi bakuphi. Ummeli waHlatshwako utshele inkantolo ukuthi umbuso uyamduma ngalesicelo njengoba kude bebakwati ngaso. Lokunye lakutshele inkantolo ukuthi inkantolo isengakajubi ukuthi ngumuphi noma ke ngubuphi bufakazi lobukhulu kunalobunye kulendzaba. Wengetene ukuthi Hlatshwako angeke abaleke njengoba kunengi lokungamlahlekela uma angabaleka lapha Eswatini. Uphindze watshela inkantolo nekuthi leli cala leminyaka wa-2018 futhi umsolwa solo utanjalo enkantolo akatange sekabaleke. Inkantolo ibese ithi iyayihocisa ibhayili yemsolwa. Lokhu sekusho ukuthi sewutawuhlala estoksini kude kuphele kutekwa kwalendzaba. Lomsolwa umelele ngunoncedo ndlangamandla kanzi umbuso umelele ngumacebo ncumalo. Lendzaba yona isembiwe lijaji Maxine Langwenya. Indzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela enkantolo lenkulu.
Amaphoyisa athi lusuku lwangalesithathu lubebede tikigaba lokhu kwendeke nje kukhona bebasonga ukuthi batawumisa live lithinzi ngalelilanga leli kanye nangalesine kunembiko.
Njengoba uhulumende bekethembisile ukuthi lilanga langalesine litawuchubeka njengalokwetayelekile, amaphoyisa athi kuvele kwabanjalo.
Namuhla nje sithe sivuke ekseni cha kona kuke kwaba khona tindzawo lapha kucala ungathi kuba kuncane khona kodwa ke abantu benele kubona ukuthi cha laba bachubi baleti moto bakhona bakhululeka sebayaphuma kwahamba kahle nje usuku lonke. Lesingaphinde sikusho ukuthi nasemagedeni kude lokunganani lesikubonile lesibonile nje kumbe kungaba ngilokwendeke engwenya kodwa ke nakhona akusiko kwethu ngoba kude lokwendekile esayidini lethu lesikubonile nje ukuthi kukhona kumbe lebe bahlangene esayidini kumbe labo makhelwane eningizimu yeAfrika le kungeke ke singene kakhulu kiko ngoba kusiko kwethu.
Banikati betincola letetfala sive nabo basigcinile sethembiso sabo batikhulula timotolo ukuthi tetfale sive.
Siyabonga lokusekelile ngempilo kwaloko kungaba kubonga sibonge banikati betincola lokuthi nje basibambise ikakhulu esicelweni sethu singelibandla lebuke transport FN ukuthi abafukele emsebentini bafuze imoto tabo. Siyabonga ukuthi basibambise kuloko balwe nalesimo lesikhona. Ngempilo kwaloko sibabonge nebashayeli ngeke ukuthi nabo sibacelile ukuthi abafukele emsebentini bakhona ukuthi basoniphe baba bayasebenza Again sibonge namaphoyisa emaphoyisa asethembisile ukuthi atakusibambisa becishe ukuthi tonke indzawo lapho khona kuye bese kuba lobuhlangana.
Noma nangalesine kukhona labathi live litawuma lingasebenzi ngalokutayelekile, emaphoyisa athi atawuchubeka abe semigaqweni aqinisekise ukuphepha kwesive. Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela, nginaThemba Shabangu na LinkedIn kule Mbabane.
Kanti-ke bosomabhizinisi labancane labathengisa emadolobheni nasemagcinzelweni baphumile kuyosebenza njengasemihleni. Lokhu kulandzela ukuthi uhulumende anikete sive etfologcina ukuthi sive asiphume sente imisebenzi letayelekile noma-ke bekunemibiko lesabisa sive. Linyenti labo bathi ibhizinisi behamba kancane ngoba bantfu bebasekela bebabancane.
Bosomabhizinisi labancane labathengisa tibhid for timphahla kanye netithelo kulokunye bebaphumile kuyothengisa. Sitfole lithuba lekukhulumisana nabo kuva ukuthi basebente njani ngalesithathu.
Hayi bantu bancane sibaboni kahle nje akusebenzeki kahle.
Akusebenzeki namuhla. Ema-customer kude.
Basemakhaya abantu bayisaba.
Namhla sikhona but abantu ababonakali kahle ngoba abantu bashayela ifala. Phatho ukuthi lokube losikubonile ngoba lamabhele ngwalanze namhla kamanzini. Ngibonile ukuthi abantu babangahlambuluki ekseni.
Liphinda Ndvunankhulu Themba Masuku emhlanganweni nebetindzaba ngalesibili laveta ukuthi imibutfo yetekuvikela itawusichithisa kane live kuciza sive kanye nemphahla. Etindzabeni bika Sondomlangeni Nambongwa Dube eMbabane.
Inhlangano lehlomisa emajaha nabobabe ikwakha indvodza ibuke kubambisana netinkampane kanye nematiko lehlukene ekutheni emajaha nemakhono akhona ekutfola timali tekukhulisa emabhizinisi awo. Ngekusho kwemchumaniso walenhlangano nesive bandile lukhele lamajaha aphindza afundziswe ngekubhala ticelo tekwesekela ngetimali tikhwama letakhiwe nguhulumende.
Inhlangano yekwakha indvodza yingilenyeti inhlangano leti bambisa uhulumende ngekucecesha emajaha ngemakhono yokuthi bakhone kutiphilisa. Umchumanisi walenhlangano nesive bandile lukhele uthi lo nyaka babuke kubambisana netinhlangano letifaka ekhatsi isikhwama sebantfu labasha kuthi bakhone kutfutfukisa emabhizinisi abo.
Ukuthi siwafundise bese sigcina lapho. Sesingako sezizama ukuthi emajaha siwakhile opportunities nalabanye labasebenza namajaha. Swaziland umkhulu aphi. So sisebenzisa ke mafuba lamanye amanye lesihlangano sebenza nabo bo youth fund. Kuthi sibalethe sibafike sibafundise lamajaha bafike le emajaheni lesebenza nawo. Kuthi abafundzise ukuthi kahle hle nafuna ukuthi ube ngilofuna kule mali leni. Yini lokufuna uwende ukufuna kanje uyifuna kanjani le mali. Bahamba behambise kunato tonke edigaba le process yokuapplyela le mali.
Eminyakeni lophelile lenhlangano yakha luhlaka leminyaka lesihlanu lenye yetinfo letigcamile kufaka ekhatsi kwenyusa lizinga lebantfu labasha labaceceshwa ngemakhono lafaka ekhatsi kubata kushisela kulokunye. Etindzabeni kubika Sondomlangeni nginamuzi Mkhonda eMbabane.
Bantfu labasha engoni babonga lusito labalitfola enhlanganweni yakaKhabrini Ministries lusito lwekutfutfukisa emabhizinisi abo. Labantu labasha basi lenhlangano icale ngekubacecesha ngekucala emabhizinisi bese ibuka likhono lonalo lelingakusita ukuthi ukhone kutiphilisa.
Insha yendzawo yasengoni ayiwuvali umlomo ibabatala usito olulethwe inhlangano yakaKhabrini Ministries. Labantfu labasha bathi bekatse bangasebenzi bahlala emakhaya kodwa ngelisito lwalenhlangano lebaceceshile yabanika emakhono ngetebhizinisi yaphindze yabaniketa timphahla tekusungula emabhizinisi abo sebayatisebenta.
Sengakhona ukuthi thina ngiyajabula kakhulu about business and business management. Okay, besifunda and then umuntu ngamunye kule group usho ukuthi wena business lo ofisako noma la talented ngakhona usho ukuthi kuphi and then they will take it from there but assess ukuthi okay ufisa kwendani ulekhisha in okay then lo because bengingeke ngize ngikhona ukufika ezingeni lokuthi ngithengele tonke letinto zingaba salon and angibona ukuthi okay bekutangithatha iminyaka leminingi ukuthi ngibe nesalon nje as ehall ukuthi kube nje isaluni le functional kube Caprin azange angenelele.
Lesento sekusita abantu labasha ngetemabhizinisi sihambisana nenkulumo yesilo nasivula iphalamende lapho silo sakubeka sobala ukuthi bantfu labasha kudzingeka batfole lusito lolwanele kute bakhone ukudimela. Umbiko uhlanganiswe ngithembelihle Magutshwa eNgoni.
Umndeni wakadlamini emadlanga empisi ngaphansi kwalenkhundla ucela lusito lekubanjiswa ekunakeni ibantfana labatsatfu labadelwe banema-triplets. Make walabantfana khululiwe Shongwe uthi kulukhuni kukhulisa labantfana njengoba dokotela wamcwayisa kwekuthi angabamunyisi ngobe angeke akhone. Kungaleso sizathu baphila ngelibisi lwekuthengwa.
Khululiwe Shongwe lothole bantfana labatsatfu pheceleti ema-triplets uthi bangumndeni bebakulangatelela kuba nemntfwana emva kweminyaka lemibili solo bangabatfoli bantfana kodwa kubathuse kakhulu ukutfola bantfana labatsatfu. Uthi nome labantfana basibusiso kodwa kuyabadulela kubakhulisa njengoba nababe wabo asebenza umsebenzi wokuthi bakhone ukuthenga kudla kwasekhaya kuphela.
Ngamangala kakhulu kwamthusa kakhulu but ngaba nekubonga ngoma vele ngangivele ngimthinga umfana kepha ngaba nanokuthuka nje ukuthi bangona bangaka. Ngaba nokusibusiso okuchama kaNkulunkulu ngeke ngizonsole kangakanani kepha nje usito hayi umadima Nkosi yami ngicela sivele ukuthi mhlawumbe sizothi ngangiphosa ngabo ngizaba ikhulisa abafana nabathathu umadima ngicela nje sivele ukuthi Nkosi yami mapha ngakhona ukubambisa nomaphambasi noma lubisi ngoma abamunye kanzala ukuthi ngeke ngize ngikwade kubamunyisa ngoba baningi kakhulu.
Osanza kusita lo mndeni noma nganguluphi usito angashayela cela Ndlamini lokungabe walabantfana ku 78045196 noma ku 78116445 ethi Ndzabeni Eswatini TV ngibonga Simaka kule madlanga empisi.
Kutemidlalo tindzaba inhlangano lengamele tinhlangano tetemidlalo lapha eveni Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council seyivetile ukuthi kubamba umcimbi lomkhulu wema-Regional Sports Awards lowatiwa ngekuthi yerasa utawubita imali elinganiselwa ku-500,000 emalangeni. Dumsani Ntiwane lokhulumela lenhlangano uthi lo mcimbi utawuphindza ukhange tivakashi lapha eveni. Lo mcimbi utawubanjwa mhla ka-24 enyangeni yenhlaba eminyakeni losetulo.
Eswatini kubheka ukuthi kulomnyaka losetulu ngenyanga yenhlaba libamba umcimbi lomkhulu wema-Regional Sports Awards lowatiwa ngekuthi yerasa. Ngekusho kwaDumsani Ntiwane lokhulumela inhlangano ye-Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council lo mcimbi utawubita imali lengetulu kwetinkulungwane tingama-500 emalangeni.
Singasho nje ukuthi simbukile ibudget ya over $500,000 nakhona sekunciphisa ingendeka yenyuke kakhulu tiningi kakhulu tindleko i-organization ya Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council letaspenda kulo rasa kutane ma-benefits lamaningi for live naso ubuka nje ukuthi kuta ema-countries latobe I9 lapho i-tourism yethu iyabhusteka imnetfo wethu economy iyabhusteka phela ngoba labantu lesikhuluma ngabo batobe balele emahotela batobe bavakashela tindzawo khona lakhaya baspenda imali kubhusteka yona economy nema-sports associations zethu atoba nalo lithuba phela lekushiyelana ligwayi nabo zakwabo labachamuka kulamanye emave. I-team ye-chess i-ladies vele sibuke yona kakhulu ngoba yona yawina indondo yemhlaba phela nayiwina ku-Olympiad 44th Olympiad ye-chess lebeyisendiya. So ngilabo lesingathi vele ngibo lesibabuke kakhulu ukuthi bangawuphakamisa umjeka welive nasekuchamuka kumarasa naso ubuka le world stage labawina kuye.
Lo mcimbi wokuhlomelisa tingijimi talesifunza utangenelwa ngemave la imfica. Umbiko uhlanganiswe ngeLinkedIn Gule na Fabrice Msonera Sembabane.
Umqeqeshi welikhethelo lesive lemidlalo wekubhukusha lophinze abesekomidini leliphethe inhlangano yemidlalo wekubhukusha Welcome Mhlabathi uthi le nhlangano kanye netinhlambi talomdlalo sibabhekene nenkinga lenkulu yetindzawo tekudlalisa lomdlalo lapho khona linyenti laletindzawo tite emanti lashisako pheceleti heated pool. Mhlabathi uthi ke lokhu sekubita ukuthi batilolonge ngesikhathi lesincane angakabanzi lamanti.
Amalanga sinema challenges ke ngalama swimming pool kanjalo. We are grateful to Umavuso ukuthi they allowed us to 70 swimming pool abo, university allowed us to 70 swimming pool abo, but the biggest challenge is ngilenza bayala ma heaters kunenkinga lekhona ema heaters and asakhona lokuchubeka ngale winter. We have 16 swimmers la hambako end of April kufuna aye ku Makana Games eAngola. Already sesiyastrugglisha emanti ayabanza singena 30 minutes or an hour sesicethe asayiqethi ngale program because ayabanza asifuna bantwana baze bagule. Running a pool vele it's not it ngeke uzubasole kodwa running a pool is not easy, gassy and all that, but if bangaba nokukhona bana bakhona partnerisha lama institutions like labo university because they have a very beautiful facility labanayo, but ngawuphezulu ngabasole ukuthi kuhle kube nalenkinga tema heaters ngalokuthi kudulile naloku run the whole thing, but nasingabana ukuthi kube nabantu abafuna ukuthi mhlambe bagcine ba partnerishe nabo but abethula lo mthwalo kutaqhubeka le sport siye phambili.
Ngaleyo ndzaba yetinhlambi talapha events yatiphetha tindzaba talapha event sibahlola timakethe siphuma ngesimo selitulu uma sibuya sihlala phasi naThembi Inkosi Mamba. He's the program coordinator weluhlelo lolusha lokufundza ngetebuchwepheshe lolwatiwa nge-learning passport. Tasichazela kabanti ngalolo hlelo uma sibuya timakethe ungayinzawo.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
Minutes after 6, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Eswatini learners currently doing Form 4 and 5 will be able to follow the multi-mode approach to education and training. They will be able to attend the normal brick and mortar kind of schooling alongside online learning. This was said by the Education and Training Minister to Eswatini, Lady Howard, on the launch of the Learning Passport, which is a government-led online learning management system. But what is this learning system really in simple terms? What subjects does it offer? How does it work? And how does Eswatini stand to benefit from it? Thembi Inkosi is the program coordinator at the National Curriculum Center. He's here with us to answer all our questions related to this development. Mvuleni mavunguvungu sibonge ukuthi ukhonile kuvuka kusijoyina lo mhla ehlelweni. Kusichazela ngana imfuthuko lenkulu nakangaka lapha events yakuvusela mfuleni.
Siyavusela sivusele nebabukele emakhaya.
Bayathokoza kuvuselwa ngwendvuleni njengoba sathi ukuthi bantu betemfundo bamcwa kangakanani lapha event ngumgogodla welive nine. Mvuleni suku lwangalesithathu bekulisuku lolukhulu eMountain View eMbabane. Simbonile nihlangene nelitiko letemfundo mlawuli wetekuchumana iEscom kanye nenhlangano lenkulu ke yakamhlaba iUNICEF kwetfula naye intuthuko naye lenibite nge-learning passport. Into ke lengingayi-understand kahle mina lena ngiyajabula ukuthi unathi leyo mhla kusichazela nembukela ekhaya atawukhona kuyiva njengoba sathi ukuthi phela itawumbandzakanya live lonke batali nebantfana bantfa babo. Yini vele i-learning passport Mvuleni?
Asibonge lo mbuto. Ngalamafishane singathi i-learning passport luhlelo lwekufundza nekufundzisa lolusebentisa letebuchwephesha lesingatsi ngesingisi it's a learning management system lekhona kutsi umntfwana angakhona kuchubeka netifundvo takhe noma ngabe usesikolweni noma ngabe akekho esikolweni. Lokusho ukuthi umntfwana nje lonelucingo nade tihlakaniphile kuthiwa ma-smartphones noma abe ne-laptop. So uyakhona ke ukuthi noma ngabe kunetizathu fletende ukuthi angakhona kuya esikolweni angashiyeki kulokufundwa esikolweni akhona kungena kuloluhlelo kule learning passport aqhubeke athole ifundvo takhe.
Okay. Ngiyalibona ke loluhlelo lendlalo libeka ngayo kungathi belingaba useful mechanism especially etindzabeni lesibone khona kubhedvuka umkhuhlane iCovid-19 lofike waphocelela abafundi ukuthi babe ngasekhaya naletinye letimo letveli 11 lesitibone letiphocelela abafundi ukuthi babe ngasekhaya. Ngakho ke ngiyabona lokho ukuthi kuyintuthuko lenkulu kakhulu sitawuthi noma setitimo letinjena tiphindze tivela sitawukhona sichubeke sifunze kodwa nje ngicabanga umbuto lomkhulu sengafiki kuleti fundvo letikhona la ngekhatsi ukuthi engabe vele uavailable kubo bonke yini tigaba tekufundza from tikwencane tikwephakeme engcenye nema-tertiary institutions even though wona siwadi ukuthi sekakhona la kuba online but lendlalo beka ngayo ngathi lokhu sekulihlelo lwakho kodwa ngathi nje kuyi-app yakho.
Okay, asibonge lo mbuto kusho ukuthi angiqale ngekuthi lokungumgomo welitiko letemfundo ukuthi litiko lilethe imfundo that will be accessible to all and that will be equitable. Lokusho ukuthi litiko lifisa ukuthi kubede tincabekelwane letivimba bantfwana ukuthi bangakhona kufundza. Letincabekelwane ke tichamuka ngetindlela letinengi letehlukene. Kungaba ukuthi umntfwana uyagula kulesinye isikhathi bantfwana bethu bemantfombatana ukhanza ukuthi noma ngabe litiko bese lishido ukuthi bangacoshwa etikolweni mhlawumbe masebehlelwe isimo sekuthi sebakhulelwe noma sekunjani. Litiko lithi noma bangacoshwa but sonke siyabona ukuthi kuyendeka lokuthi bagcina bangakakhona kuya esikolweni ngandlela thide. Lokusho ukuthi ke litiko belisolo lizama tindlela tekubuka ukuthi letincabekelwane letenta ukuthi bantfwana bangakhoni kutfola tingasuswa kanjani. Njengoba ushito ke kufika imkhuhlane lomkhulu iCovid-19 lokho kwende ukuthi litiko lesidzingo sale sibuya siba masinyane kakhulu kulandzela ukuthi iCovid-19 yenda ukuthi bantfwana vele itikolo tivalo bangakhona kuya esikolweni. Labese litiko liyabo singenta kanjani ukuthi lo mgomo ukuthi imfundo ifikelele kuwonke umuntu bese siyayisheshisa.
Okay.
Yinye kaya letindlela kube ngiyo learning management system letawenda ukuthi noma ngabe isikolo sivuliwe noma ngabe isikolo sivaliwe kodwa kufundza kwebantfwana kungaphazamiseki.
Kodwa nje ku-holistic kangakanani ngiyabona lama 3 levels of education lesinawo lapha even primary school, high school and tertiary. Is it accessible to all of them?
Kungumsebenzi lomkhulu kakhulu. Leli tiko liuqale kahle kulomnyaka lophelile ekhathi nawo. Ngalokuthi ke nawe utawukhumbula ukuthi tifundvo nje letikhona esikolweni letithathwa bantfwana dinengi kakhulu. Mawukhuluma nje ngaka form 4 ayedwa form 4 tifundvo letikhona nje esikolweni tiyenca ku20. Lokho kusho ukuthi lo msebenzi mkhulu kakhulu besingeke sikhone kuthatha wonke kanye. So we had to start somewhere.
Okay.
Siqaleke ngalo form 4 na form 5 nakhona kulo form 4 na form 5 njengoba ngisho ukuthi mkhulu lo msebenzi asikakhona kucala sifake tonke letifundvo kanye kanye noma ngabe nyalo siyachubeka siyatifaka tonke ngetigaba kodwa siqale nganathi tifundvo lekuthiwa ngema core subjects.
Okay.
Ema core subjects ke kunetifundvo lewonke umntfwana losesikolweni lo tifundzako. Letifundvo leto tifaka ekhatsi i-mathematics, English language, Siswati, i-science ke ihlukene kabili kune biology kuphindze kube ne physical science. Le physical science nayo iphindze ihlukane kabili kube ne physics ne chemistry. Bese sekuba ne religious education. Letifundvo leti lengikhuluma ngato nje as I am speaking to you right now, they are available on the platform for every learner who is currently doing form 4 and form 5.
Yeah.
Lokusho ukuthi njengoba indvuna eliphakamisile nje loluhlelo itolo. Lokho bekusho ukuthi kusukela itolo bonke bafunzi sebangaqala bajoyine bafunze letifundvo leti lesengitibalile.
Yeah.
Kodwa ke mhlambe nangaphandle kwaloko before indvuna iliphakamise loluhlelo itolo nje besine bantwana base Mjingo High School lebe bakhombisa ukuthi bona bathi tema balusebenzisa balubona lunjani bakhanza ini lokho ke nathi kuyasisita ngoba lena yindvo lensha. So kusisita lokuthi sibone ukuthi vele kuyabasita yini tinkinga tikuphi lekusafuna ukuthi sitilungise sisachubeka sisaya empili.
I'm picking up three things kulenvo lothandza kuyisho Mavunguvungu. Indzaba yekucala ukhulume ngetincabekelwano wakhuluma ukuthi indvo lemcoka lokubitenge ukuthi i-mandate yenu nibelitiko letemfundo. It's access to equitable information, all access. I think lapho lo mbuto wami umbuto lomcoka kakhulu lana ukuthi inclusion ke lapho ibese ngena kanjani ngoba uma it's equitable I believe ukuthi iphindze ifake ukuthi wonke umuntu kufuna abe nayo le information lo ngumfundzi. Masikhuluma ngebantu labanema special needs, I think they are very important nabo ukuthi nasikhuluma ngendzaba ye-inclusion. Sikhuluma ngebantfana labale kuma remote areas lena kubo Gege Shiselweni lena kubonzingeni sikhuluma ngalabo bantfana lapho indzaba lapho orientation cansi tabe senayo seyangena lemibuto yami ngifunda ukuthi beyine kakhulu cansi my other two questions ngidabe ngiyayifaka nayo but sesikhulume nje kakhulu ngendzaba yalama barriers ekutheni uma sikhuluma nge-inclusion how holistic is your approach ekutheni it accommodates wonke umntfwana weLswati.
Asibonge kakhulu kulombuto njengoba bewusho ukuthi masikhuluma nge-equitable access to quality education sithi lamathuba ekuthola imfundo awalingane kuwo wonke umuntu athole lithuba lelilingana nawo wonke lomunye. Lokho ke kusho ukuthi kufuna ukuthi lelithuba lemfundo lingafikeli labasedolobheni kuphela nalaba semakhaya nabo balithole. Liphinze lisho ukuthi kufuna ukuthi nalabantwana lesithi banema special educational needs nabo futhi kufuna ukuthi balithole lolithuba lelo. Lokusho ukuthi njengoba bengisho ukuthi lolu luhlelo lulisebenzisa tebuchwephesha.
Yes.
Lusebenzisa ama computers, lusebenzisa ama smartphones, lusebenzisa i-internet. Kuloko besihlola nje indvuna isengaliphakamise lehlelo sizamile kusebenzisa bantfwana labaqhamuka kutotonke letifundza delive. Utawumangala kuva ukuthi sikhanza ukuthi bantfwana cishe kulo lonke lelive incumbi yebantfwana sebanawo ema smartphones. And loko kuphinze kwentiwa ukuthi ngalesikhathi kuvalwe itikolo ngesikhathi seCovid botishela bebazama vele ukuchubeka babafundise bantwana kubo WhatsApp nema social media platforms. Loko vele kwenda ukuthi cishe incumbi yebantwana babe nato tincingo ngandlela tsite. Kodwa ke noma sengisho njalo angisho ukuthi basekhona labo labede. Kodwa kwanyalo sithi ngoba vele labantwana banato lokho lokhanza ukuthi vele nyalo banato letincingo banayo indlela ethola internet abavele bachubeke litiko ke litabe solo libuka ukuthi laba ke la utawukhanza ukuthi basalela ngemuva basitakala kanjani njengoba kule launch yayitolo nje besikhuluma bo partner bethu kule program kwanyalo labakhulu iEscom na UNICEF sengohulumende so bese kukhuluma nako lokuthi laba ke bona lo tawukhanza ukuthi bede letindlela tekungena sibasekela njani ukuthi nabo bagcine bayi-accessa le education. Kwesibili masikhuluma ngebantfwana labanema special educational needs lapho timbili tindlela tekwenta ukuthi bantfwana bakhone ku-access. Indlela yokuqala ukuthi sibonile phambilini itolo nje Escom begapha abafunzi labanye labane special educational needs ema-tools ema-devices that they are using to access their education. Labantfana labo graduated from the high schools labanye sebasema college. Lokwendeka ko lapho ukuthi kuba khona lama gadgets la vele eta nema softwares la sita labantfana ekuthi lama softwares are interpret whatever content is there yekuthi ayibeke ekutheni lo mfana akhone kuyiva ngalendlela yena lekeva ngayo. Lokusho ukuthi lo hlelo lo selinesikhashanyana luqalile etikolweni nje letinye kunebantfana labanema tablets labanye banema gadgets leswabita nga Prodigy Connect 12 lapho khona bokhanza ukuthi mangabe base sikhuluma nebashicileli betincwadzi njengabo Macmillan lokuthi sithathe letincwadzi labatishicilele sitifake kulama gadgets bese lama gadgets ngiwo lalasita lo mfana ukuthi ngoba yena inidi yakhe inje bese ayamsita ke ukuthi akhone kufunza yona lencwadzi lefundwa ngilalabanye. That is the first aspect of access yabantfana be special education needs. Yesibili ke ukuthi sende le platform yona ukuthi kube khona ema sections noma ema controls vele that are specifically designed for labantfana labanema special educational needs. Lawo ke adzinga lokuthi siqale sende le platform sifake tonke lento letifuneka bese ke sesiyayicustomize. Lokusho ukuthi le yokuqala isho nje ukuthi labantwana labavele banema gadgets abo kwanyalo bona batawuvele ba-access baqhubeke batifundzele ngaphandle kwenkinga. Kodwa sisachubeka silitiko siyilungise le platform yethu njengoba sisho ukuthi emfundweni sifuna kuhamba nawo wonke umuntu lofuna kufunza.
Cha yevakala Ntfuleni. I think nje we can take a moment kumbonga umlawuli wetekuchumana Ntfuleni. Sala simbona elula sandla kubantu nje labadzinga lusito especially etindzabeni letifaka ekhatsi ama-assistive devices kuloko labasebenta ngako. Siyambonga kakhulu umlawuli wetekuchumana kulokunye njengoba bengishilo ukuthi le mibuto yami bemithathu kuloko kushite ekucaleni itsinzile nendzaba yokuthi this platform is available to form 4s and form 5s. Kuti buta nje umbuto nje yabona ukuthi nenithathele sivele sibe curious kakhulu why form 4 and 5 kuphela why ngicale ngalapho ngiva ngathi sekusedulu nje ngabuta imibuto lemine ngiphathi wasongichazele why 4 and 5.
Okay, thank you for that question. There are two main reasons for starting with form 4 and form 5. The first reason being the fact that if you are using technology in education and training, firstly, you have to have the skills that are necessary for you to access and for you to use the devices. So, labantfana bethu baka form 4 na form 5, labo vele sebakhulile ukuthi sebayakhona kubona ukuthi okay nayi i-laptop singavele siyisebenzise kwethu nje lapho sekubafundzisa kancane ukuthi okay le platform yethu isebenta kanje but sebayakhona kuti sebentela. That is reason number 1. Reason number 2 ukuthi sitawukhumbula ukuthi form 5 ubese ubhala nakule sikubita ngekuthi it's a school living qualification. The school living qualification kuba mcoka ke ukuthi iaccreditwe kuze labantwana bethu batokhona ukuthi mabacedza bangakhona nekuyofunza kulamanye emanyuvesi langaphandle kwalelive.
Okay.
Now the accreditation aspect says kufuneka ukuthi kube khona umuntu lothenjwako lotawu accredita le qualification. For us kwanyalo sisa accreditelwa nguCambridge. Lokusho ukuthi Cambridge has a say in what we teach in these levels. Cambridge has a say in what we test and how we test. So lokusho ukuthi vele labo ngeke silive nje sithi hayi sitawenda ngendlela yethu ngoba vele le accreditation is still very important. So ngiko lokunye lokwende ukuthi sicale ngabo ngoba vele bona iexamination yabo isenale element yeaccreditation lenkhulu lokhanza ukuthi noma ngabe le curriculum siyayishintsha but sibambisene na those who accredit the program. So that is why those are the two main reasons that made us to start with Form 4 and Form 5.
No, cha ivakala kahle Mvuleni, ivakala kahle. Indzaba ye orientation, I think it's a uvetile ukuthi seni as a prototype nimixile kutotonke tifundza telive nayibuka ukuthi sebenza njani now atfole ma findings ekutheni most kids have smartphones. I think that's a great development and that's a smart approach. It promises to be a very useful mechanism. Mvuleni, I think my question lapho ibesingena ekutheni indzaba ke ye internet siyathi kangwane sesina 75% of broadband coverage, but the cost of data is still a major problem even for an employed person. Sisakhala ngayo i-cost of data. Engabe do you have indlela yokuthi maybe ndawo implore your stakeholders angathi what's your approach lana ekutheni tindzaba te-data ngoba now isebenza nge-internet ngiyayibona indzaba ye-data ukuthi iyangena futhi bayendzaba lenkhulu nibukene lapho wethu indzaba into yokuthi bantu bakhone kuyi-accessa bakhone equitably.
Thank you for that question. Okay, during the COVID period, one needs to say that as a ministry, we were working with different stakeholders, including internet service providers.
Okay.
So we have engaged internet service providers ukuthi bangasita kanjani ukuthi bantu bethu bakhone ku-accessa bangalimitwa kakhulu yi-data. Lokunye kwesibili lokuhle ngilokuthi sisebenza nemlawuli wetekuchumana. Nyalo njena siyabuyela nemlawuli wetekuchumana sibuyela siyohlala etafuleni. Sesiyobuka ke ukuthi ngoba naye iplatform sesiyakhile. Nguyiphi indlela lesingasita ngayo bantu bethu ukuthi bakhona kuyi-accessa cheaply. Lokusho ukuthi ke umlawuli wetekuchumana nguye lotawusisita ukuthi sisebende nawo onke ema-internet service providers ekwendele ukuthi for this platform ema-rates abe close to minimal. That is something that we are working on.
Okay.
And then on top of that, we have had other partners on the ground who are supporting the Ministry of Education. They are already providing internet to different schools, especially high schools. One of the partners kuthiwa nguWonderport. Lovele afaka i-internet etikolweni incumbi yetikolo nje ema secondary high schools sebavele banayo i-free internet that is provided by one of our partners in the education sector.
Wow.
It is important to state though that ngeke bese sithi lolo hlelo lolo selufike kutotonke tikolo lo sengafiki kutotonke tikolo, but the ministry and the partners are working tirelessly ukuthi sigcine sifike esigabeni lapho khona tonke tikolo bonke bantwana batawukhona ku-accessa especially ema-learning sites with minimal costs.
Okay.
Yes.
Another big question, I think lena ke it's a global question nasikhuluma nje ngetindzaba double AI, artificial intelligence. Siyambona njalo there's this new advent of ChatGPT where people can access anything really. Nabantu abesikole ngathi sebayakopa lapho. But ke sesibuya la, the biggest concern, it's a global concern ukuthi le ma developments lafana lawa bese seka replace imisebenzi yebantu. Nasikhuluma ngelitiko letemfundvo sisangafiki nje ukuthi kune high unemployment rate kubotishela, but siyalibona litiko letemfundvo futhi sishayela tandla liyisebenta tirelessly hard libambisene nahulumende wonke. Engabe loku akuba replace yini botishela ngoba ngiyakuvana lokuthi sithi labantwana kuyabafundzisa ngisho basekhaya. Ngeke yini kube sekufika esigabeni sekuthi botishela ingathi abasathi ngeke laba. Engabe yindvo leni regulator kanjani le kutheni ingabe sesifuna replace abothisha lapha?
Ngicabanga ukuthi lo mbuto lo ubutako vele batawujabula abotishela ukuthi uyawubuta. Sisasebenta le program, I have met that question several times.
Okay.
Lokuthi vele kukhona lokucabanga ukuthi le technology ito replace botishela. I normally say ekufundiseni there is no way you can replace the warm-bodied teacher. Lokho kusho ukuthi noma ngabe i-technology seyikhona but umsebenzi watishela utawuhlala ukhona. Lokho kusho ukuthi thina nje silitiko sithi we are providing or we are using a multi-mode approach to teaching and learning. Lo multi-mode approach usho ukuthi ngeke sidivale tikolo, ngeke siyekele uqasha botishela. Kodwa ngetulu kwaloko sitawuphinde sisebenzise letinye tindlela lelitawenda ukuthi lokufundza kwemntfwana kube malula. Asengikubekisele nje lokwendekako la ukuthi mangabe siyafundza umntfwana kuye emadishela embi kwakhe amchazele indvo letsite, but ukhanze ukuthi la classini lebantfwana labang-20 mhlambe kunebantfwana labang-15 labangamuva tishela ukuthi uthini, labadzinga ukuthi mhlambe babute leyibonisa ngayabo noma bayobuta ekhaya noma bayobuta labanye botishela.
Yes.
Nale platform ke nayo injalo. Kunetindvo lotawukhanza ukuthi lo mntfwana uyatifunza kodwa solo usadzinga kuchazelwa ngilomunye ukuthi okay lokhu labakubhalile noma lokhu lengubukela kule video le mababa bakusho lokhu yini noma kusho lokhu. Lokho kusho ukuthi lolu hlelo lolu angeke vele lumreplace tishela. Nalokuthi maybe let me say much as we use technology but it also has its downside. Ndokubekisela nje umuntu makafunza tishela embi kwemntfwana esikolo amfundzisa tishela uyakhona kumbuka ema-gestures noma ema-facial expressions alombana abone ukuthi cha siyahambisana nobe asihambisani. Noma ngabe i-technology seyikhona le kwendako lokho kodwa ayikafiki esigabeni sekukwenda ukuthi kufanane nangalesikhathi kubonwa ngumuntu. Nalokuthi ke kwesibili i-technology ngeke sikubalekele ukuthi ita nema costs. Le technology lenda ukuthi ikhona kubona ema-gestures iwa interpret and everything else. Masikhuluma ngetimali itse kuba sedudlwanyana. Lokusho ukuthi noma ngabe sitawugcina sifikile khona kusethatha sikhashanyana ngoba timali tethu atisivumele. Lokusho ukuthi umsebenzi watishela uphephile ningasho kanjalo.
Mzoleni sibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho kusijoyina ehlelweni. Unfortunately isikhathi sethu sesilimele but nje angathi vatangishaya mani bo-professor but just quickly is it flying, is it sevele lihlelo selikhona esikoleni akudzingi futhi libhatalelwe? It's just a simple yes or no.
Yes, it's available and learners can already enroll.
Thembi Nkosi Mamba, project coordinator walolu hlelo le learning platform ngele bitwa nge-learning passport yetebuchwephesha. Siyethemba ukuthi itawusita kakhulu live la kaNgwane lisathuthuka litimbandzakanya nalamanye emave lathuthukile. 57 minutes after 6 sibahlole emarket.
Do you remember the spinning thing? This is us. This picture represents what we did. We were there when coronavirus wreaked havoc in our population. Together with other stakeholders, we formed the first line, controlling the spread of the unknown and unseen enemy of the people. Anxious ourselves, we collected dead bodies countrywide. At the time when no one wanted to come near dead bodies of loved ones, we did care for our fellow citizens. Thank you, the people of Eswatini and teams of first responders.
Nene bekunene kusetandleni tesive kuthi imimango ingagcini kukampunzi edla emini sive sakangwane nebantu labakhethe kuhlala eSwatini abaphile ngekukhululeka nekuthi kubethe lo nyathelo lilungelo lalabanye egameni lekufuna lilungelo lakhe. Sive asikhumbule ukuthi emaphoyisa bomake nabobabe labadinikele kwenta siqiniseko ukuthi wonke umuntu lwenembahla yakhe ingacekelwa phansi ngulomunye. Wonke umuntu akahlale ngekuthula nangaphandle kokwesaba tindwe letingatiwa. Emaphoyisa ngekulandzela nekushiqilela umthetho athi into yemuntu ayibe ngeyakhe umuntu. Sive asijinge siwabambise siphinde siwasekele emaphoyisa emsebentini wawo. Kude emalungelo aso sive osomabhizinisi kanye nebantu labasebentako anganyatheleki. Khona-ke imimango itawukwakha nemakhaya akhulise bantwana ngaso sandla lesiya emlonyeni. Emaphoyisa naso sive abasebente ngebudlelwane nangekubambisana kulwa nebucala netingoti temgwaqo.
Kubumbene insimbi yesikhombisa sicoliseke babukeli bethu belihlelo lethu ikusile breakfast show. Ngiyathi ukuthi ngalesikhathi nidayile ukuthi nitfola i-traffic update kodwa ke ngekuphambana kwedinzambo sibe nebulikhuni kuchumana nabo boSergeant Bekumuzi Gule nabo Ntombenhle Fakutse laba loyal kusipheni yona i-traffic update. Otherwise they are very willing kusipha yona i-traffic update kodwa nje ngekuphambana kwedinzambo asikhoni kulosuku lamhla. Sichubeke nato ke dinzaba tethu dalomuhla sibuka ke leti chamuka phandle kwalapha efeni kulesikhathi sanyalo sicaleke nganaye kucala. The military regime in Myanmar has confirmed that it did indeed carry out an airstrike in the country's surging region that's reportedly left up to 100 civilians dead. The central region is known as the bastion of opposition to Myanmar's 2021 military coup. Witnesses and independent media reports say the attack was targeting a ceremony held by an opposition group there. They say some filthy children, or rather some 50 children performing a dance at the time, were killed. Here's a report.
A targeted mass killing of its own people. Myanmar's junta has confirmed it's carried out an airstrike on this village. Its spokesman told military-run TV that it was a security operation aimed at restoring peace and stability in the region.
Yes, of course. We launched the attack on them. We were informed that members of the People's Defence Force were killed during the air raid.
The junta says the attack in Kambalu township targeted an inauguration ceremony of a local office organised by the PDF, the armed wing of the National Unity Government, formed by a group of elected lawmakers ousted in the February 2021 coup d'etat. Showing these photos, the military blamed civilian casualties on people being, quote, forced to help the terrorists. It also claimed members of the PDF were committing war crimes and atrocities against the local population. Witnesses say military aircraft dropped bombs directly onto a crowd, killing dozens, including many children. The United Nations and the US government have condemned the military action. Myanmar's junta is increasingly using airstrikes to counter an armed struggle against its rule, claiming it's fighting terrorism. More than 3,000 civilians are estimated to have been killed since army generals seized power from a civilian government led by Aung San Suu Kyi. The UN estimates around 1.2 million people have been forced out of their homes.
The United States Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says that Ukraine remains confident about its planned counter-offensive against invading Russian forces, despite the emergence of apparently classified U.S. intelligence documents on the war.
As the war grinds on in Ukraine, top U.S. officials are seeking to contain the damage from the surfacing of highly classified military documents on the war. The documents include briefing slides mapping out Ukrainian military positions and U.S. assessments of its allies' support for Kyiv. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told reporters Tuesday no one knows for sure right now where these documents came from.
We take this very seriously, and we will continue to investigate and turn over every rock until we find the source of this and the extent of it.
Asked whether Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky should alter his plans for an expected spring counteroffensive against Russia, Austin had this to say.
They will fight the enemy and not be driven by a specific plan. They have a great plan to start, but only President Zelensky and his leadership really know the full details of that plan.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was asked about the damage the leaks might cause to the trust of U.S. allies to share intelligence in the future.
Let me just say, with regard to broadly allies and partners and these documents, we have engaged with allies and partners at high levels over the past days, including to reassure them about our own commitment to safeguarding intelligence and, of course, our commitment to our security partnerships.
One of the more damaging leaks pertained to the U.S. and its ally, South Korea.
One of the leaks was that the U.S. was apparently listening to conversations inside the South Korean government, trying to figure out where the South Koreans going to finally agree to sell ammunition to us that we could either directly give to Ukraine or that we could be used to replace what we gave to Ukraine. So it was this, in that case, I believe it was us listening to the South Korean government, trying to understand what they were thinking.
Another expert told VOA that the leak is not as bad as others in the past, but there is one aspect that he is worried about.
The one risk, I would say, is the use of this intelligence for information operations or for even disinformation. So we've already seen examples of certain PowerPoint slides with numbers and figures being released, and then seeing a similar PowerPoint slide with the numbers altered or changed to suit a certain narrative. So then you're going to have this big question about the authenticity of not the initial leak, but of all the documents that are going to now be floating around.
Ukraine's defense ministry has accused Russia of being behind the leaks. Intelligence experts say the leaked document with casualty numbers was altered to cut the number of Russian soldiers killed by more than half, before surfacing on pro-Russian Telegram channels. A Kremlin spokesperson said Moscow was well aware that the United States and NATO were involved in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Now, for more on the war going on between Russia and Ukraine, Russia's upper house of parliament on Wednesday approved a controversial bill to create a digital draft system that could bar men from leaving the country amid Moscow's offensive in Ukraine. Senators backed the bill after Parliament's lower house, the State Duma, passed the legislation on second and third readings on Tuesday. The bill has next to be signed by President Vladimir Putin to become law.
The last time Vladimir Putin announced a mobilization of the Russian military, there were protests in the streets, and thousands of men fled the country or went into hiding. Now the Russian government is trying to make it impossible for those hoping to avoid conscription to stay in the shadows. Under current law, draft notices have to be delivered in paper and in person, but soon it will be done with the click of a mouse.
For citizens who did not appear at the military enlistment office, they will face a ban on leaving the country and a warning about subsequent penalties in case of failure to appear after 20 days.
Under a new law, draft notices will be sent electronically, issued through a portal run by the government and already used for collecting taxes, processing passports, and social benefits. For those who fail to respond to the electronic summonses, there is a long list of penalties, including a ban on driving, obtaining credit or loans, and selling or buying property. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the new law absolutely necessary, but added that it is not connected with the mobilization of more Russian men to fight in the Ukrainian war. But the move highlights Russia's need for reinforcements on the battlefield. With Moscow gearing up for a Ukrainian counteroffensive, in recent months, it has depended heavily on the Wagner mercenary group, which recruited thousands of prisoners to fight in exchange for their freedom. But Wagner ended that practice in February. Meanwhile, Russian men already drafted to fight in the conflict have complained on social media that they were being sent to die senselessly on the front lines without the necessary weapons and ammunition.
The United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin met with Philippine leaders at the State Department as the two countries began their largest joint military drills on Tuesday.
U.S. and Filipino soldiers launched Balakatan military drills in the Philippines as leaders from the two nations met in Washington for the first such talks in 7 years.
At today's meeting, we redoubled our commitment to modernizing the Philippine-U.S. alliance, recognizing that our partnership will need to play a stronger role in preserving an international law-based international order.
I'm excited about the ability to increase interoperability and look forward to continuing our great work together.
Those words are a far cry from the state of U.S.-Philippine relations just 3 years ago, when then President Rodrigo Duterte openly disapproved of the military alliance.
The U.S.-Philippine alliance is really having a once-in-a-generation moment right now, where both sides have realized, maybe for the first time in a couple decades, that they really need each other.
The Philippines is among the least developed of America's military allies in the region, and it faces an acute threat from one of the world's most powerful militaries, China.
For more than a decade, 3 Philippine presidents now, Beijing has just refused to give the Philippines some breathing space in the South China Sea.
In 2012, China pushed the Philippines out of Scarborough Shoal, a territory well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea, and claimed it as Chinese territory. Both sides have militarized islands in the South China Sea and are in constant conflict. That's the Chinese Coast Guard telling a Philippine Coast Guard plane last month to immediately leave what it called Chinese territory over the disputed Spratly Islands. The U.S. and the Philippines have now agreed on U.S. access to 4 new bases in the Philippines, key locations near the contested South China Sea and Taiwan, another geopolitical flashpoint looming large in the region.
Our goal is peace, security, stability, creating opportunity. It's not to engage in a new Cold War. It's not to contain China.
China completed 3 days of military exercises around Taiwan on Monday, which included a drill that simulated precision strikes on the island. The Chinese Communist Party has vowed to control the democratic island by 2027, using force if necessary.
France is gearing up for a new day of strikes tomorrow against a government move to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. But even outside of France, President Emmanuel Macron is facing resistance to his controversial plan, getting heckled by protesters Tuesday during a speech on his trip to the Netherlands. That speech was meant to focus on Europe's future, but it was also overshadowed by Macron's controversial comments on Taiwan. The French president saying earlier, when it comes to Taiwan, Europe should not be followers of China or the United States.
Hammering home his vision for a bold and assertive future for Europe, French President Emmanuel Macron addressed a crowd at the Nexus Institute in The Hague on Tuesday.
Pandemic and war just pushed us in a situation to discover that we have to reduce our dependencies if you want to preserve the European identity. Otherwise, we will progressively be dependent on everything.
Macron has long trumpeted the need for a strategic autonomy for Europe. But after his controversial statements over the weekend, cautioning against being pulled into a crisis over Taiwan, in The Hague, he chose to focus on economic sovereignty.
We can set up a new economic doctrine, which will allow us to reconcile creating jobs, financing our social model, dealing with climate change, and being more sovereign and deciding for ourselves.
Macron has called for bolstering the EU's weight on the world stage through developing ambitious industrial policies. He's also an advocate for more protectionism in strategic sectors such as energy and cybersecurity.
The EU has, for the first time, equipped itself with a tool allowing to block or ban holdings or foreign acquisitions in strategic companies. What we decided through this regulation is a complete ideological change. Till very recently, we just considered we were open without any conditions.
The French president has also championed efforts to make joining the Paris Climate Accord an essential condition for future trade agreements.
The United States President Joe Biden is in his ancestral home in Ireland, where he will spend the next 2 days meeting with leaders and family members. Earlier on Wednesday in Northern Ireland, he urged that the collapsed power-sharing government should be restored.
For an American president who loves to highlight his Irish heritage, it was a homecoming.
Every time I've come, the welcome, the people on the streets, they're just so gracious to us.
Thousands of people lined up to catch a glimpse of Joe Biden.
Even though it's raining in Ireland, the sun's shining really in our hearts. And there's no show like a Joe show.
Biden toured Carlingford Castle, the last Irish landmark his great-great-grandfather Owen Finnegan saw as he sailed for New York in 1849. Biden spoke with locals, retelling the story of Finnegan and Joseph Kearney, former President Barack Obama's great-great-grandfather, both shoemakers from nearby counties who emigrated to the U.S. around the same time.
In all their dreams, I'm not sure they could have imagined that 175 years later, both their great-great-grandsons would be President of the United States of America, Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Earlier Wednesday, across the border in Belfast, Northern Ireland, Biden hailed 25 years of peace under the Good Friday Agreement that ended the conflict over whether the region should unify with Ireland or remain part of the United Kingdom. He urged for the power-sharing government that has collapsed under boycott and political infighting to be restored.
As a friend, I hope it's not too presumptuous of me to say that I believe democratic institutions established through the Good Friday Agreement remain critical to the future of Northern Ireland.
If power sharing is restored, he suggested more investments from American companies will come, a message echoed by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak.
We talked about the investment potential that is there, the companies that want to invest in Northern Ireland. I think that's incredibly exciting. It will bring growth, jobs and prosperity to Northern Ireland, and I know he shares my ambition to see the institutions here back up and running. That's what people and businesses in Northern Ireland deserve.
On Thursday, Biden holds talks with Irish leaders, ending his trip with a Friday night speech in Ballina, home of his paternal ancestors on the west coast of Ireland.
Italy's right-wing government has declared a 6-month state of emergency to help it cope with the sharp rise in the number of migrants arriving on its shores. Since January, the country has seen nearly 4 times the number of arrivals as the same period last year. A ship carrying around 700 people is expected to dock in the port of Catania this Wednesday, while another boat carrying about 400 is also in need of rescue.
Italian aid workers rushed to set up 2 reception centers in Catania. The eastern port on the island of Sicily is preparing to welcome some 700 people who will be in need of care.
We give the survivors shoes and blankets, then we offer hot meals. We propose recreational activities, especially for children, to try to distract and relax them. Let's hope that they don't have to wait too long at sea.
The Italian Coast Guard is leading efforts to rescue at least 2 boats currently in distress in the Mediterranean. This one, carrying 400 people, was first reported on Sunday near Malta, running out of fuel and taking on water. Since January, Italy has seen nearly 4 times as many arrivals as in the same period last year, with some 31,000 people reaching Italian shores. Many end up on the small island of Lampedusa, where shelters have been overwhelmed.
There are many women with young children and several unaccompanied minors. We're in an emergency situation. Our staff are trying to do what they can to respond to their most urgent needs.
Italy's right-wing government has declared a 6-month state of emergency backed by €5 million. It will allow the country to better manage arrivals, but also more quickly identify and expel those they decide don't have the right to stay.
And in Chile, the parliament has passed a bill to gradually cut the work week from 45 hours to 40 with the same pay. That's a small victory for leftist President Gabriel Boric, who's vowed to reshape the country's free market economy. Some large companies have already embraced the reform, but some small businesses and opposition lawmakers have criticized the law, saying there aren't enough means to compensate the loss in production.
Cheers and applause in the Chilean Congress as a bill to shrink the work week was passed with an overwhelming majority, with 127 votes for and just 14 against.
What we saw today is that although some thought it was impossible to make progress towards a better quality of life for the workers of our country, yes, it can be done.
It's a breakthrough for workers' rights in Chile and a hard-fought victory for the new left-leaning government. The bill, which will gradually reduce the work week from 45 to 40 hours over 5 years, had stalled in Congress since it was first introduced by communist lawmakers in 2017. Those opposing it cited a lack of measures to make up for lost working hours.
I asked the minister what she's doing to increase employment in Chile. There's not a single government project to generate more jobs for Chileans.
The law will prevent employers from reducing salaries because of the change. It will also allow workers to switch to a 4-day work week, something that countries like Spain and the UK are already testing, producing generally positive results on workers' health and productivity.
It's good because people will have more time for the family or find another source of income to increase their purchasing power.
However, the measure does not apply to the more than 27% of Chile's workforce that is employed in the informal sector.
Russia and Ukraine are fighting for land inside Ukraine, but in the most bellicose places, areas of conflict going back to 2014. What exactly is there left to fight for?
Buried in this grave is Sergei Kotako. His neighbors say he was a good man, a retired electrician who helped care for elderly women in his building. During 2 months of heavy battle here last summer, cluster bombs fell, and on one occasion, he didn't make it to the shelter on time. Locals say nowadays everyone in town knows each other, and they all knew Kotako.
The war somehow brought us together. There's not many of us left here. Before, there was 11 or 12,000 people here. Now, it's only around 2,000. When the humanitarian aid comes, we all go to the same place to collect it.
This town has been a war zone since 2014, and much of the population fled after Russia invaded last year. The people remaining survive on food and water brought in by aid groups. Kotako is one of many in this town who are buried in makeshift graveyards, gardens, and fields. The town cemetery is on the front line, only a few kilometers away. In town, tanks and artillery are hidden behind apartment buildings, but we are told not to take pictures, in case it gives away their positions. The sound of shelling, both outgoing and incoming, is continuous.
Why do we deserve this?
It's the only question I have. It's the same question I keep asking. Why are they torturing ordinary people?
Wartime has galvanized patriots across Ukraine. Many support the idea of fighting until total victory or total defeat. But this far east, among the pockets of people remaining, it is not unusual to find locals who identify with Russia. Most people we meet won't declare support for either side publicly. They don't know who will rule the area in the months and years to come. Galina, however, says openly she doesn't care who wins if they stop firing. I only want peace, she says. Only calmness.
In the battered village of Kashishi in North Kivu, last autumn at least 170 people were massacred. After several weeks of occupation, the M23 left the village to redeploy some 20 kilometers away. The threat is therefore still real, but no armed force has come to protect civilians. Witnesses tell of the massacres.
On November 29, 2022, a group of M23 rebels was searching for local militiamen when it descended on Kashishi. It was the start of a manhunt, culminating in one of the worst massacres since the start of the insurrection. 4 months later, the few who survived have agreed to tell their story.
The M23 rounded up all the men and said they belonged to a militia that attacked them. Then they told everyone to sit down and form a circle around a pit. And they started shooting them, one by one.
Nearly all the men were executed on the spot. The rest were forced to dig graves at gunpoint and to bury their dead. The killings marked the start of a months-long occupation by the M23, of which the town still bears the scars. Amid the trenches and fortified positions erected around Kashishi, the roads remained littered with corpses. And the local school, which was used as a base of operation by the rebels, has been closed for months.
Today, children are misbehaving because they can no longer go to school. And our community does not have the means to rebuild it.
Since the M23 withdrew earlier this month, life has slowly begun to return to Kashishi. But without the presence of the Congolese army or of UN peacekeepers to fill the security vacuum, traumatized residents are, for now, left to fend for themselves.
Overfishing, global warming and plastic pollution are having a devastating impact on the world's oceans. Researchers warn that marine ecosystems could almost completely collapse within 25 years. Correspondent Gayle Borehole headed to the Seychelles to meet with some young entrepreneurs dreaming of ways to water down the damage already done.
Johan, a 20-year-old Mauritian entrepreneur, has just a couple of minutes to pitch his idea to a group of officials. But he's not in the least bit nervous.
I feel like I'm in The Voice. So what do we offer at Sea Life? Put simply, we gather seaweed in an eco-friendly way and then transform it into agricultural products.
Johan's smooth delivery has been honed through training workshops where he also learned how to raise financing and measure the impact of his initiative. He is among some 100 people taking part at the first ever regional forum for youth entrepreneurship in the blue economy, a platform set up by the International Organization of La Francophonie, which aims to support entrepreneurs working in the sector. Abidat, who makes fertilizer from natural waste, is another keen participant.
I had an innovative project, but I couldn't reach the market. I couldn't picture who my target client was. And thanks to this forum, I now have the tools to be able to sell and put myself out there.
The forum has helped Andre to get over his fear of pitching in French. The 30-year-old from the Seychelles has been working on a new social network called Hyperwave for almost a year. The platform doubles as a hub for those looking to invest in clean oceans.
Social networks are catalysts of change and with the capacity of bringing people together. So why not use them to help the ocean?
His pitch went down well. Hyperwave was selected among the 10 best projects at the forum, winning a €5,000 grant and a 6-month mentorship. But the work is not over yet. It is difficult to access loans and subsidies in the Seychelles because of a complicated maze of bureaucracy. Even more challenging is the fact that industrial fishing represents more than 20% of the archipelago's GDP.
Now that's the end of our international news for the day. Let's take an ad break. Siphume ngeweather. Masibuya sihlala phasi na baka Masilela ke labaqhamuka ka eMantini Boreholes balindile. Masilela is their head of marketing. Lo sihlebelelo ku exciting lengathi nje kuwe ungayenzayo. Buya nathi masibuya at market.
Pay your TV license quickly and easily with MTN Momo. Simply dial *007 *3# and select option 8 for TV license. Enter your national ID number as your reference and the amount you wish to pay. Then enter your PIN to confirm your payment. Once your payment has been made, you'll receive a confirmation SMS of your payment. If you're a first-time payer, you get another SMS for your TV license. So legalize your entertainment from the comfort of your home. Pay your TV license the easy and convenient way with MTN Momo.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
They have appeared on the show a couple of times, reiterating their services predicated upon easy access to safe, potable water, citing that it's a basic human need important for health and quality of life. eMantini Boreholes, njengoba sanibonileke kumabonakude kule video lesithandza kuyidlala, joins us again today through their head of marketing, Balindile Masilela, who has whispered to me that they come bearing gifts for you, our loyal KBS viewers. Let's say there are a couple of other segments. Let's be now lapha ehlelweni. Balindile, I think this is your first time appearing on our show. Ngicela ukuthi ubavusele emakhaya. Uti-introduce kahle. Sekuintroducile nami ukuthi you are the head of marketing of eMantini Boreholes. But I just want you to introduce yourself nokuthi ke uchaza ngana competition nongihlebele ngayo. For our loyal viewers, specifically ukuthi ngithi loyal viewers ngoba uvetile lo ukuthi ngathi the competition will be based on lekwakhulunyiswa previously.
Yes. So I'm Balindile Masilela, acting sales and marketing manager at the eMantini Boreholes. So bearing good news as well. We have a competition currently running for 3 months. This competition will be based on our previous interviews at KBS. The prize is a survey worth 3,000 emalangeni for our winner. So we'll pronounce every winner every Thursday.
How many winners are you looking to have here on this competition? It's an awesome competition, 3,000.
Yes, so it'll be running for 3 months. We're basically looking at 10 winners.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This is very interesting and exciting. Talk to me about this competition. Really, how do you plan to go about it? What do you want us to do for you?
So we'll be posting the questions on our Facebook page at Emandini, and then the customers will go on our page, go through it, answer the questions, and then on Thursday I'll be here announcing the winner.
Okay. Okay. You did tell me that you also want to, summarize on what was highlighted before. We've spoken about manual drilling techniques. We've spoken about a lot of things, really, but what is it really that you want to talk about?
Can I just touch base on what products we render as Emandini Boreholes?
Okay.
We render survey, drilling, and pump installation. I won't go deep inside it because we're going to have technical people who are going to explain further. So I'm just going to touch base with our survey. With the survey, we actually go to sites, okay, and then have an not approximate, but kind of like approximate detail ukuthi umgodi wakho utoba kangakanani. Nakhona it's not precise, it's just ukuthi sibone ukuthi okay ngaba kangaka akusiko correct mangasho njalo.
Okay.
And then with our drilling nakhona drilling ngeke ngithi ithatha i-period lengaka because ihlukana nangalomgodi we-move nangalendzawo yakhe, so angeke ngithi kutothatha ilanga lonke ngendlela kube more or less. And then with our pump installation, nema pump if nakhona avarisha prizes akhona kuvarisha ngalomgodi wakho ukuthi unganani. Yes.
Siyathola ke tincingo Balindile, mina nje bakile bangishayela bacathi ngiba-referisha kini, and I did exactly that. But another thing that siyabona now sebafakile emanang eno your drilling services neti nombolo 10, our producers have done us a great service there. But I was just telling you ukuthi siyathola tincingo. But equal question, I think you've highlighted that you have a Facebook page. Where else can they access this information outside of the show, if they say they've missed the show?
Okay, outside of the show, they can come to our offices at Esther House, Mantini, office number 8. They can get us on our Facebook page and on Instagram, and they can also use WhatsApp and just pick up the cell phone and call us.
The number of active anytime bangayishayela.
We are available.
Anytime, Balindile, I hope ungivakashe.
Anytime. Emandini Boreholes, it's, let me just say, it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because we provide services and we want our customers to be able to get through us any time of the day.
Nationwide services, I think with the benefit of Lama visuals, I had a few questions, but I think we can talk about this graphic as well. Tonga leti nombolo leti tichumana nemahoffice and
Nemahoffice straight to Mahoffice in F.
Are they based in all regions of the country?
All regions of the country.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully with the aid of visuals we will go back again to Lapokona Begnalama illustrations. There we go. Take me through this visual.
Okay, Lananje as niboni track here fu yase Mandini kunema rods lapha, and nyalo nje bafaka li rod, and then this is our operator, and ngicanga furthermore details ato khona operator if kuhlesita naye lana asichazela kabanti ngalokujila ukuthi mase kujena kwendekalani nako konke lokho.
Shidogelo ukuthi will introduce your technical workers who will elaborate more on these activities that are happening on site. With the aid of visuals there.
No,
okay, not today.
Good there. Mefuna veteran nje babukeli ukuthi okay, if ever umuntu ngazuthi ishiyat Balindile akhona ichaza kahle ngesurvey.
Yeah.
Utawufika umuvu wesurvey atochaza nayo aka drilling and nayo aka pump installation kufike namafupha or maybe sidlale i-video nangabe khanzi siyasebenza ubambekile sikhombise babukeli ukuthi okay now kuyachaza kabanti.
Okay, that's very interesting. Ngiyadibuta nje ukuthi Emandini Boreholes, Emandi njengoba nihlakanishwa basic human need. Siwatsinga onke malanga. Mina nje ngwanatha onke malanga vele kuseni. Bayathi balingani bami ukuthi ngihlale ngina 2 liters wami. I think my question then becomes, mangibuka i-price point yemanti etitolo, I think a 1.5 litre ngithenga 11 rand. I won't say the brand. Ngabe sengibanika free marketing. Let's talk about your prices. Ngabe ungayibalekele the conversation. It's very important njengoba ulana and understanding the position that you are sitting from as head of marketing. Talk to me about the prices.
Okay, prices as Mandini Boreholes, they are very affordable. And my buga le price mangutshela nje utake iborehole kudrilla wayo maximum uthinga minimum uthinga 50,000 for everything. We're like 50,000, but then when you buga in the long run you have water supply for 10 to 15 years. Nangabe uyiphethe kahle iborehole yakho, and then mawubuka mawuthenga emanti esitolo wherever owathenga khona uba like okay mase break it down my prices. Borehole is actually is less expensive, more affordable and reliable, and we make sure ukuthi sikushiyane imali lahlobile la dakuphatha nawe kahle ekhaya.
Yeah. So khuluma ngemanti lengingawanatha, imanti lengingawasebenzisa konisela, commercial. Yeah.
Commercial use, you can use it for household use, you can also use the water.
How's the uptake of services so far, Balindile event Lagangwane? How do you see the response?
The response is very good. It's amazing actually. Mawubuka how small Swaziland is. People need Mandi, and they really rely on us. So that's why I make sure with the Emma services if they are in good condition.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want us to talk seriously Malela ngifuna siphinze sikhulume ngale competition. I think it's very important. Now it's 3,000. Mvulo fana nama ngayingenela in the competition.
Noma ngangibana ngenele, but ke kutaba ngcono nangabe boyibukela le show. Usilalela uthi sithini because the questions efataba based ngaloko.
Okay.
Previously, but it's a really good competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think sangabahlebela nje ma viewers ethu ngwakopisa ukuthi beyond the lookout for Kusile Breakfast Show naga YouTube. We do stream on YouTube. Onke lama episode where we've had Mandini Boreholes on the show akho naga YouTube, and they're accessible through their Facebook page. I think akho lama link inhlale nwa poster Kusile Breakfast Show. Okay, longafuni kwina le mali lena sort of dibonela. I've played my part kwagopise mali lehle kakhulu lehlobile fana lamanti enu balindile. I think with the aid of visuals ngasho ukuthi we've spoken about everything that you wanted to say today. Are you leaving out anything?
No, not at all.
Wow, cool balindile. But Mandini Boreholes as batibonela ke lapha TV, this is some of the processes. Balindile has highlighted that in the coming weeks uta with her technical workers labatawusichazela kabanti step by step kuthi uma kuvela nasithombe nasi kwentekane ukuthi ke utawuba nayo le clear picture ukuthi uma ubashayela kunathi nombolo letinsathu letivelako bayeta la khona enzingeni noma eshiselweni noma engcolweni, wherever you are bayafinyelela. Am I correct, Balin? And again, if I request a quote today, I think it's very important. If ngishaje nyalo, ngishayela leti nombolo leti and request for a quote, how mangithi ngiyayithatha le service yena? No, I want the service now. Nifika nini and how long is that process?
And my request to quote yako, we advise kuti ubhadale survey iqala, because we really need to know ukuthi emande akho stawafela kuphi kanjani. And mawuqeda kubhadala survey yakho, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks is service here for ukuthi ifike kuwe, like a truck itekto kupela.
Okay.
And then a pump installation ithatha viki or 2 kuze sifike kuwe stack installele mandi akho aphume sofake ethangeni.
Okay. Angidami ke kuba smart lana ngisebenzise ama punchline, but ukhuluma ukuthi thatha a certain period of time to install the pump. Do you also take installments ke? Nasikhuluma ngayo le pump.
When paying installments. Yes, obviously we take installments. Mawufika uthi yithi yati ngifuna iborehole by May, but ke imali yami ngiyabona ukuthi ngeke ngibihlangene sithi okay ifake ibhange lakithi uyifake ngalakithi sikubhale phansi ukuthi okay yambe isibalindile sofake emalini, and then mase fika kulot because deposit angithi it's 30,000 mase fika 30,000 sesihamba sokugubhula sinidi invoice phinde nalapho usho ukuthi okay ngiyibhadala kanjena
Okay, I think that's very important, especially for our local farmers. Like Angwane, Langasho would say, you know what, I can start farming, ngifake installment, and then hopefully with the returns that I make, I can be able to break even and hopefully pay for the rest of the amount. Balindile Masilela, she's the acting head of marketing with Mandini Boreholes, making her first appearance on the show. So sichazeleka bantu ke ngema services abo labanawo and a competition yabo labanipha yona ke ngema loyal viewers ekusile breakfast show. Hopefully nitawuhamba niwine le mali lena. I just want to confirm nyala ngokutshela nawe Balindile, I'm not going to join this competition. Ngikhanza ku unfair logo. So my loyal viewers kusile breakfast show have this opportunity. It is 44 minutes after 7. Sibahlolet market nasibuya siqhubeka nelihlelo. Umbukeke losijinile uma siqala lihlelo uyakhumbula ukuthi sikhulumisene noThembi Nkosi Mamba from the National Curriculum Center. Lo siphe nje sithombe saya learning platform lensha ebuchwephesha lebitwa learning passport that was launched yesterday by the Ministry of Education in partnership with umlawuli wetekuchumana eSicom kanye na UNICEF. Njenge media house ke leticapha ngokuniketa timely and accurate news. We were there. Sikhonile ke kuthola indvuna etemfundo Lady Howard. Let's hear her abekanje ma remarks akhe as the Honorable Minister of Education and Training at the launch of the Eswatini Learning Passport platform that was at Mountain View Hotel on Wednesday.
Sito launcha I learning passport yethu le kungiyona itawulekelela abantwana bethu baka form 4 form 5 content yabo ukuthi ibe isale isebenda ngabongcondo machine bakhone ukuthi noma ngabe bakuphi bantwana bakhone kufunza. Siyabonga ke kuma partners onke UNICEF eSicom lebasi sitile ukuthi lo msebenzi sikhone ukuhlanganisa kuthathakale letifundo leti letendiwa wonke leti letifanele ukuthi vele tendiwe litibitwa ngama core subjects at least lawo sekakhonekile ukuthi afakwe kule learning passport lokusho ukuthi bantwana sebatawukhona ukuthi bakhone kufunza noma ngabe bakuphi batawukhona kufunza basesikolweni bakhona nekufunza noma sebangekho esikolweni. Lokho ke kutawusisita ukuthi ukukhulise lizinga letemfundo kaNgwane.
Indvuna etemfundo Lady Howard utsenza indzaba lenkhulu indzaba yekubridge the digital divide lekhona lapha kaNgwane in the education system ukuthi nje kuyasithuthukisa kusibeka at par with other developed countries etindzabeni tetemfundo. Wayitsinza ke nendzaba yakhe ukuthi uma kubedvuka umkhuhlane iCovid-19 live lafunza sifundo lesikhulu ekutheni lifuna litimbanza kanye nalamanye amave lathuthukile endzabeni tekungelela tebuchwephesha kutekufundza njengoba iCovid-19 naletinye timo letivele kwaphocelela ukuthi bantwana babe ngasemakhaya lokho ke kwathi kabe datemfundo. Labanye ke lebe bakhona njengoba sivetile ukuthi there are other key stakeholders labafaka ekhathi umlawuli wetekuchumana eSicom asive emavi a Chief Executive Officer wakhona ka eSicom umlangeni Mvila Wemphihla mina.
The Commission is here today not to regulate as per its mandate, but here as a partner for the Tingudla government to enable its quest to bring services closer and conveniently to the people by improving the livelihood of Eswatini through offering decent services. For the Commission, bringing these services to the people means ensuring that all Eswatini have access to electronic communications and ICTs and other services that are within the remit of the Commission. That is one of our core mandates, emanating from the broader concept of regulation. It is therefore not surprising that the Commission, in its endeavor to create an enabled ground for equal and equitable access for such services, found a national partner in the Ministry of Education and Training, because they are the custodians of education in the country. With the country currently covered with over 75% of broadband technology, it is very prudent that today we gather here and launch what should be a turning point in the education of the country. The platforms will utilize the available technologies and hope that it will benefit even the students which are in the rural areas as well. The Learning Passport platform is one of the flagship initiatives which the Dingola government, through the Minister of Education, has undertaken and will assist in ensuring that learning is offered both online and in class. This will surely put the country's education system at par with other developed countries. Would like to acknowledge the National Curriculum Center for their effort to ensuring the initiative is properly executed and professionally implemented. We also recognize UNICEF for being an important partner in this project as well. We're hopeful that as the system improves, it will cater for the educational structures, including tertiary level. The Commission, through the Universal Service and Access Fund, has supported several initiatives to support His Majesty's government, and in particular the Ministry of Education. These initiatives include, but not limited to, teaching and learning ICT tools for School of the Deaf, both primary and high school, tablets and laptops for schools to support ICT in education. These devices are the ones that assist in bridging the digital divide, especially in the rural and underserved areas. It is, however, very disheartening to see that all these efforts are being let down by people who see these as an opportunity to selfishly enrich themselves by stealing these devices. We want to strongly condemn this act of evil and trust that the law will exercise its full extent to ensure that the culprits are brought to book and send a warning to others who might think of joining them that this is indeed not a good act. Honorable Minister, can I take this opportunity on behalf of the Commission to congratulate your Minister and the government of Eswatini for its effort to ensure that the students with disabilities are also assisted in their quest for education. We all know that this group of students need extra support in their academic life, and the Commission, and as a Commission, we've committed to partner with the government to ensure that these students are supported in whichever way possible.
Yeah, that was Eswatini Communications Commission CEO Mvilawempi Dlamini, just citing that they were not at the event to regulate per se, but rather to fulfill government's quest to decentralize services to the most remote areas of the country so that everyone has access to decent services. Ubekile umlangeni waphinze wachaza nenzaba lenkhulu ekutheni they want to kutimbanzakanya and a core mandate yelitiko letemfundo, which is to enable equal and equitable access to information. I think inzaba lebe inkulu kakhulu lengijabulisako ngilesikhulumile nanfulini nakafika la lihlelweni indzaba ukuthi i-cost of data indzaba lenkulu kakhulu kuphathisweni kwalolu hlelo leli. Vetile ke CEO ukuthi Eskom reaffirms the Commission's support in the education sector. So I think that is very exciting. Kwathi ukuthi basetawuchubeka babambisane basahamba lolu hambo lolu ekutheni tindzaba te-cost of data nato kubendzaba letibuketekako. There was also UNICEF naye lobe a key stakeholder in partnership with Microsoft kwakha le program lena, which was represented by Anina Mohammed lobe khona kuleli hlelo. She also made her remarks. I guess we have my remarks akhe.
So the Learning Passport, as we have heard, is a digital innovation developed by UNICEF partnership with Microsoft, but there is also a silent hero, Cambridge University, to enable access to quality and inclusive education and skills. The platform has been developed with a unique set of online and offline functionalities to equip young people and children with necessary tools to support their learning, whether in schools and most importantly in homes or in hard-to-reach areas. You know, we are not over yet with COVID, health pandemics, or other emergencies that will, God forbid, prevent us and prevent the children from going to school. So when that happens this time around, we have the tools to continue learning. So the platform, as you also have heard, supports the blended learning and skills building opportunities for youth, young people from most vulnerable groups. It enables continuous access to the education beyond the classroom, hence improved learning outcomes. When the time is up for children to go back home, very few have access to continued learning, and this allows them to continue that. And I'm sure Eskom will facilitate that happens. Sorry to put you on the spot, you're not alone. It's all of us. All of us. We have so many business people, private sector, we have so many ministries. This is not the responsibility of the Ministry of Education and Eskom alone. It's a responsibility of everyone who wants the best for the children, but who wants the best for the country. Learning Passport provides young people with the support and resources they need to be innovative problem solvers, to design, lead, and implement projects and services that can contribute positively to economic growth in Eswatini. I think some of you remember the ministry, colleagues from the Ministry of Education, you remember the innovation hubs that UNICEF is also supporting, enabling young people to design projects. They need similar content to be able to do that, and they can employ themselves. We know we have a huge burden of young people who are not employed, and they can employ themselves is through the same platforms.
Anina Mohammed, representing a organization yaka UNICEF kulo mcimbi lobomkhulu kuthulwa ngalo semthethweni kwe-Learning Passport, a digital learning platform for tikolo talakangwane for Form 4s and 5s. But ke utsinza indzaba lenkulu ekutheni she implores the Ministry of Education and all stakeholders ekutheni le program ichubeke develop so that it is accessible to all across all levels of education lapha even ke lokunye lokumcoka la kuveta ukuthi in developing this platform they partnered with Microsoft as well as Cambridge University. Utawukhumbula ke ukuthi Thembinkosi Mamba uhighlightile ukuthi i-curriculum yetfola kangwane ima standards aka Cambridge, so to learn ukuthi Cambridge was a partner in terms of developing this platform reassures ekutheni imfundo yethu solo ihamba elayinini lelingilo in terms of meeting standards that it has to meet. And then concluding, we emphasize the importance of partnerships and concerted efforts in developing and transforming education system yelive. Kajabisa ukuthi developing this platform sibonile involefana leo where multiple partners came together to develop this platform. Kwetunje kungaba kufisela i-success le platform lena isa permeate tonke tikolwa telive ekutheni bonke abafundisi babe nawo. Sasifike emaphethelweni elihlelo lethu la lomuhla sibone ukuthi inhlelo nathi yasibona nekusasa sisagoqoda liviki lethu lesibe nalo.
Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's #1.
Is everybody ready to go, go, go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? Let's live it up and party and have cracking good fun. When it comes to edutainment, DSTV's #1.
Is everybody ready to go, go, go?
We've got the zaniest characters to transport you away. The party is cracking, so why not come play? You're gonna love it. We've got so many channels and a ton of new shows, like Disney and Nickelodeon, where anything goes. So live it up with DSTV. We bring the fun. You know we're #1.